All right, today we're going to be defending Kid. That's right. Someone who,
Fighting a losing battle.
yeah, someone who doesn't get defended, somebody who's been crapped on a lot. I don't know if I've kicked Kid while he's been down. I mean, maybe I've laughed at him a little bit, but I don't know if I was on board with all the slander on him because I felt like maybe it was a little unwarranted. And it seems like
Yeah.
there's others out there that think the same. And today we're going to be taking a look at that because it turns out that Kid is essentially just Luffy without plot armor. Now, I found this on Reddit. I'll have the link in the description to give the person credit, but let's take a look at this first parallel here. So Luffy, first of all, lucky enough to have the Pirate King's right hand as a mentor. Kid, no such luxury.
Who trained this guy, right? Like, Kid, from what we know of his backstory in an SBS, he was just a poor kid, fought some gangs, and he got his crew. And yeah, like, nobody mentored this guy. Like, nobody, showed him the way. He didn't have a Shanks-esque figure to our knowledge. Like, he's just here, man.
He's just here, maybe even self-taught. So Luffy, he got a reality check on how weak he was pre-time skip and was advised to train for 2 years. Kid just went straight into the new world with no training and, he paid the price. Okay, so now that brings us to the alliances. So Luffy makes an alliance that helps him in the future and gains him more allies. Kid also makes an alliance only to get betrayed and ratted to a Yonko.
That's so sad, man. Like, that alliance didn't even get breathing room.
No.
Like, Apu betrayed this guy from the jump. He went there after he told Kaido about it. Like, Apu set everything up. It's like, oh my god. I feel so bad. And here's the thing, though, right? Even if that alliance did work out, I don't even know if it would work. Like, because he wanted to take down Shanks out of all people.
Yeah. No, he would have, needed Kaido and Big Mom in that alliance. And then he probably would have had a chance. But, yeah, other than that, it would have just failed for sure. But just showing that Luffy, he's like, I trust you, Law. And worked out. So,
Yeah. Lucky, man.
Luffy gets one-tapped by Kaido, but ends up learning advanced armament while his crew is just chilling in the prison. Okay, Kid gets one-tapped by Kaido, but he rots in prison while his first mate is tortured and enslaved.
That's insane. Yeah, and the worst part, I get it, right? Kid's never seen it before. He doesn't have any knowledge of it. Sure. But the worst part is when Luffy fights Kaido and Luffy uses Ryuo. And I will never forget this line because it's so foul. Kid says, what is that? What is that power? And I'm like, no, Kid, that confirms he doesn't have Ryuo. And I was like, no, dude, you have Conqueror's Haki. You've never used it. You have armament. You don't know Ryuo, or he doesn't even use armament Haki to our knowledge, right? He has it, but because he uses his devil fruit primarily, like, it's never blackened. And I'm just like, bro, like, as a Kid fan from day one, I will admit, whenever I see Kid, I just get kind of hurt a little bit, which is, I think that's part of the reason why I also laugh at him, because it's like, I expect so much, and I always get humbled every time he gets brought onto the screen.
Yeah, that's what it is. It's a satisfying humbling to someone who is implied to be like arrogant, but he really is kind of an underdog. I mean, you were just talking about the devil fruit. Luffy has a paramecia that is essentially the most powerful fruit. I mean, just like so far, it seems like no one can beat Sun God Nika. And then as where Kid, he just has, as the poster here puts, a regular paramecia, but makes the most of it. I think Kid's fruit is pretty awesome. He's essentially Magneto, right? But it is kind of situational. You do need to have metal everywhere, but it is everywhere. And I don't know if you've seen the second X-Men movie, I think it is, when Magneto pulls the iron out of that security guard's body.
Yeah, that was sick. There's so many ways you can use a metal devil fruit.
Yeah.
Or not metal, but magnet. Like, he could even technically be like Pain from Naruto, where, he's pushing and pulling people with his hands. And you could argue, oh, they need metal, or he's not, if he's not awakened, he can't do it. But I've watched Avatar: The Last Airbender with Korra, and there's a character in there who carries like metal armor, and they just use that to like capture people and like to pull them in and out. I'm like, bro, like I just look at that and I just thought of Kid. I was like, bro, I understand metal's not everywhere, but Kid should have like metal clothing or something to where you can just always like have it on hand, like Gaara with the sand, for example, out of Naruto.
Yeah, he's kind of
dude,
selling himself short with just making the arm. Like that's what he just does. He just makes his arm. He could just use it as like a utility instead.
He could be like Iron Man, just, you know, magnetize his suit and just fly himself up technically.
True. Yeah. You know what?
Damn.
Maybe once he wakes up.
Mini railgun hand cannons.
Oh my god, double like the repulsor blast. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think we're cooking here. Once he wakes up from getting almost killed by Shanks, I think he's gonna come back Iron Man mode.
I hope so. I mean, that's the hard part with Kid is that, you know, this isn't a new conversation. People have been hyping up Kid for years now, ever since he was introduced. And he's just never gotten that love. Like, he really is like a bad timeline Luffy. It's insane.
I wonder if it is intentional here. Because it
has to
I mean, there are more parallels here. So, challenges Yonko in their territory, leaves alongside his crew without that many consequences. This is Luffy. Kid challenges a Yonko in their territory, is mercilessly beaten along with his crew, and his ship is destroyed. So we're talking about Luffy going against Kaido and Big Mom, as to where Kid going against Shanks. Just getting annihilated. Yeah. But Luffy could just run into Whole Cake Island. Just by himself, running into like a level 100 territory as like a level 70. And he's fine. Got out of there in what, less than a day? Something like that.
Here's the thing too. I'm looking through this list and they didn't include one that I want to point out.
Oh, please.
But Kid lost his arm to Shanks. Whereas Luffy, Shanks sacrificed his all for him. Like, my God, this guy can't catch a break.
Yeah, what a nepo baby.
And that's what makes me think that this is intentional. Oda wants to show that Kid is like a bad timeline version of Luffy. Like if Luffy,
wow,
and nothing went, you know, he's essentially Luffy if nothing went his way. Like I think Oda has made that abundantly clear. So I will say, the minute Luffy has a bad day, that will be Kid's best day. Like it's got to work the inverse, right? It's got to work inversely. So the minute Luffy's ever quote defeated, Kid's gonna show up. The will of Kid.
Wow.
That sounds crazy. The will of Kid.
The will
Watch
of Kid.
Watch out for Jay-Z.
Topical.
Well,
I'm waiting to see how that turns out before I.
Yeah.
Speaking of another crazy story, turns out Luffy, he's the prophesized warrior of liberation, and he receives the Chosen One title. Kid, just a regular guy with big dreams, but he isn't blessed with being part of an 800-year-old prophecy. He doesn't have the D. I mean, he has a D. He doesn't have the D
guy.
Or a ridiculously strong lineage or family, but Luffy, he's one of the few important D characters in this story. It has a crazy lineage with 2 top tiers in his family confirmed. Not to mention that his mom is very likely to be the former Empress of Amazon Lily. So it's like, whoa. He was like, he was made to succeed. As where Kid was just...
Yeah, good genetics.
Yeah, Kid's just trying his hardest, and he's not getting through this without some nepotism. Luffy directly challenges the world government and beats their top agents, and is deemed less dangerous and given a lower bounty than Kid, who kills civilians for mocking him, and is branded as a danger and receives a higher bounty from the world government. Kid had a higher bounty when they met on Sabaody, despite Luffy going to Eni's lobby and stealing Nico Robin from them.
What did Kid do beforehand, bro? Like, you know what the funniest part is? I'll never forget. It was one of Oda's log interviews. He said that Kid was supposed to have a pivotal role in the story. But once he saw that Law was really popular, he gave it to Law instead. And he gave Law all the love. So Kid doesn't even win behind the scenes, brother. Like, that breaks my heart, to be honest, man. And the thing is that right now, there is a Law light novel that describes events before he came into the story, you know, as a rookie, before he got to Sabaody. And I'm like, okay, that's cool and all, but we got so much Kid backstory or so much Law backstory already. Kid could have used a light novel, man.
Yeah.
Like, he stays losing. It's a shame. I hope he makes a comeback. He deserves it. Somebody give him a W, please.
I have faith. I think
I have faith.
Kid and Law, we purposely saw them getting destroyed because they're gonna come back big. I'm not saying Kid's defeating Shanks. There's just no way. Unless he like sneak attacks him, which would be incredible. Like he catches him off guard or something. But other than that, I do think that he'll come back strong. It just, he has to have this downtime, which makes me think that maybe Luffy is going to take a giant L too. They all are riding high after winning in Wano, and then they eventually have to take big L's again. So, I don't know. Hopefully Loki smacks this Nepo baby around and brings him back to reality,
That's crazy, calling Luffy a Nepo baby. I agree. I like series when the main characters get humbled or brought down a little bit because it sets them up for greater heights and success, right? We talked about Luffy, one tap by Kaido, but he learned he learned advanced armament hockey a week later. Like, if Luffy loses again, imagine what he's going to learn afterwards, right? Like, I feel like when characters get defeated, they always come back stronger. That's especially true for Luffy. It was true for Rob Lucci even. I mean, got whooped at Enies Lobby, came back awakened. I feel the same for Kid and Law, We saw them with their awakenings during Wano. They look great. I don't want to downplay the Big Mom W, but imagine now, though. They lost. What could they come back with? Some good old hockey.
Advanced Conquerors.
Maybe some new awakenings.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I mean, there has to be at least one more awakening for Luffy, as we've talked about. So I guess there has to be another for Kid and Law, maybe. Maybe Kid, bring it full circle, comes back Iron Man mode.
I hope so.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. I was gonna say, like, I don't know why he would hide his face, but I'm just imagining, like, actual, like, Iron Man showing up with a mask, but that wouldn't make any sense.
Protect him.
I mean, maybe armor, though. Armor at the very least.
Armor. I mean, it's not like we're headcanoning this. It makes sense with what we see. He could do it right now if he wanted to.
Yeah, I mean, technically, Burgess did it, right? Sabo beat Burgess so badly back in Dressrosa and cracked his skull. Burgess now has a metal head. Like, half of his head is metal.
That's right. Wow.
So, I mean, Kid could come back with the metal suit, man. He's like, the next Kamusari I'm gonna tank with this metal armor. Like Don Krieg from Baratier or something. Could be, man.
It's just good for one tanking. Also, we'll end this video on this. Have you played One Piece World Seeker? It came out like 5 years ago.
Yeah, I played World Seeker.
Do you remember the villain? He had some crazy sophisticated Iron Man suit, like the boss of the game. I forget his name.
Yeah, he had robots working for him too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that.
I don't know how much.
Technically do that, to be honest.
That's what I'm saying. I don't know how much Oda had to do with that, but I always remembered that guy because I was like, man, this guy would be a Yonko in the actual story if he had all this stuff.
That's what he does with a lot of characters. Like, there's One Piece Odyssey, which is the most recent game.
Yeah.
And there's a guy named Audio who has the grab fruit, and Oda gave him the most insane backstory where Audio apparently clashed and fought a Yonko.
I did not play that. Wow, I didn't know that. That's crazy. Wait, is he the white-haired guy?
Oda's a madman. Blue-haired guy.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah.
It might be white in certain lights, yeah.
He looks like he's like Shandorian or something.
Yes, him.
Okay,
he's the guy I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you look at Audio's backstory, it is absolutely insane the amount of clout Oda gave this guy.
Wow.
And Oda, he wrote this character too, so it's not like, it's nonsense or somebody else made him. No, Oda made this guy.
Yeah, he does look like an Oda dude for sure. Interesting. I'll check out a YouTube video on him. And I'll get ingratiated with him.
It doesn't say what emperor, but Oda says that at some point, Audio came in contact with one of the 4 emperors and managed to destroy half of their fleet and defeat a Yonko's friend, which we don't know what that means. It's very vague. Of course, Oda doesn't want to bring that into canon story, but
had to be Big Mom
these
then.
game characters, man. Had to be Big Mom.
That's the only one that makes sense. Well, that's pretty much it for this one, guys. I'm not hating on Luffy. I know a lot of you are going to be angry in the comments. We're just having fun. But Kid, come on. I think we should, play devil's advocate with him. We don't have to clown on him all the time. Maybe he's not so bad after all. Maybe he's just like us.
I get it.
I mean, he's like me. I'm not a Nepo baby. I'm like Kid. You guys are Luffy. That's why you like him.
Oh my god. No, like, it's fun to laugh at Kid, but at some point you got to feel a little bit bad for the guy. And he has the spunk of Luffy, right? He doesn't back down. I get it. People are like, oh, he should back down from Shanks, but if Luffy didn't know Shanks and if he was put on Elbaf, he would do the same thing. He would try to fight him. He might lose, and that's just how it is. I mean, you gotta stay spunky.
Absolutely. So everybody out there, stay spunky. Check out Sai's channel. I have the link in the description. Have a great day.
It links back to Zhoniin's channel. Peace out.
Actually, don't have a great day.